I decided once to buy a car and lease it. And I was in the Army, and I'm still a young boy. I'm still 24, 23. I don't know what lease means. I just know that you get a car. Like, I didn't know you're not allowed to make alterations to it. So I bought this Tahoe blue, and I lifted this thing up 11 inches. I put these huge rims on it. I put TVs all around. I mean, I went all out. I get this letter in the mail telling me that the car's due. And I remember calling and going, what does that mean the car's due? I said, don't I own this car? They go, no, sir, you've leased this car. I said, well, what does that mean? And they, well, didn't you read your lease papers? I go, no, who reads the lease papers? I saw a beautiful shiny car outside and I wanted to drive it. Well, you have to return the car the same way you got it. So I go out drinking with my buddies one night. And I'm like, oh, man, what are we gonna do? And my friend, we'll call him Skip. Skip goes, oh, dude, I'm getting out of the Army. Why don't you just let me take your truck? I said, take it where? He goes, I'll take it back to Arizona. Okay, this is how the story goes. Pay attention. Now, I'm from Arizona, living in North Carolina. My home of record is Arizona. So he goes, let me take your truck. So a few years later, I'm like, yeah, let him take my truck. Yeah, we'll do that. So that night, it was a Wednesday, and we go to this club every night. I called 911. I said, my truck has been stolen. So the police showed up. They see the glass. They think broken window. Somebody stole the car. Immediately, a case is opened, not knowing that Skip is halfway to Arizona. So like I said, I'm not a fashioned criminal or in any way, shape, or form, but I was texting him all night. You okay? How's it going? What's going on? You know, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward 2 weeks. I get a phone call from my insurance advisor, who's like a DEA agent. Let me tell you, this guy takes his job way too serious. He calls me and goes, sir, can you please come in? I said, sure. I go to his office. He goes, we found your truck. And I went, huh? Like, what do you mean you found your truck? I immediately go, what happened? Did Skip get caught? What happened? Well, we found your truck at the bottom of a ravine, and it was on fire, and it went, total. It was a total, somebody drove it off a cliff. I go, okay, where? He said, that's the puzzling part, sir. We found it in Safford. I said, Safford, Arizona? They're like, yeah. Don't you find that funny that Safford's just a few hours from Bisbee, where you're from? I'm sticking to my guns at this point. Knowing the truth, but I'm like, no, how? And they're like, well, we just find that weird. Now, here's the other weird part. The key was in the ignition, sir. So if somebody stole your car, how do they have the key? And I had to make a decision at that point. Do I turn myself in or do I stick to the story? And I chose to stick to the story. So I said, I don't know what you're telling me. I don't know what to tell you. Car's in Arizona. What do you want me to tell you? I don't know. A few months pass and they're doing the investigation. I get called back in and they say, okay, we've opened up a full investigation. We're subpoenaing the records. And they got my text messages from that night. And they traced back the number to Skip. And they traced the fact that Skip lives in Safford. And that I was texting him that night. And they go, you have to explain this to us. How is it that your buddy, that you've known for 4 years, gets out of the Army, leaves North Carolina the same night your truck gets stolen? And we find the truck in Safford with the keys. And you're texting him that night. Now, remember, they can't see and read the text messages during this time because, text messaging was fairly new then. They could just see who you were texting. A few months later pass, and they leave this investigation open. I'm sweating bullets. Every other week, they're calling me, asking me the same question about Skip. Now they're investigating Skip. I woke up one morning and I had a gut check. I told myself that I was going to turn myself in. So I called my dad, and I told him what happened. And my dad said, son, you're going to have to do your time. And he hung up the phone on me. I called the insurance guy. It says John or Steve or whatever his name is there. Yeah, let me transfer you. He gets on the phone. He goes, Mr. Zavala, I was just about to call you. I said, well, before you say anything, let me say something to you. And he goes, well, no, let me say something to you first. We cannot find any compelling evidence to put you two together. So today we've closed the case. We are going to pay for your truck in full, and you've been reimbursed $10,000 for everything that was stolen out of your car. And I went, thank you. And I hung up the phone. And I sat back in my desk chair, and I remember thinking to myself, I'll never do something like that again. You never know what's going to jar you into greatness. You never know what it's going to be, that moment that propels you forward. And for me, that was my moment.